Hey everybody, welcome to Review with Me, your review guide of shows, movies, and everything in between. Be sure to click the like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get on with this review. All right, so today we are going to review the show Three Women. It's a show on Stars. And my, oh my. I mean, I don't know where to begin except for episode one. Let's just start with episode one. It's season one, episode one of Three Women from Stars. It is based on a true story. That's what the gag is. It's based on a true story. So it centers of the stories about three women who come from different backgrounds, very different backgrounds, but they all share a commonality as far as ownership in their bodily autonomy, stepping out of societal norms, and just navigating what life means to them in their own way. It's so good, y'all. I mean, I feel like I'm not doing it justice, but you need to watch it for yourself. So 10 out of 10 recommend. It's trigger warning it's triggering in so many instances, but it's so beautiful to watch. And the fact that it's based on a true story, I feel like that makes it that much more powerful, in my opinion. So it starts off with a woman named Gia. Gia is played by Shailene Woodley, and she is the author in this story, in this show. She's the one who somehow gets into contact with three different women and is in charge of giving their story. She's an author and she is working on a book about love, about life, and all that comes with it. She is, she essentially is an orphan now, but she's a whole adult. And she's in the first episode. You see her meeting with her advisor, her mentor, some older gentleman, and he's advising her to sleep with married men, to get good stories, and sleep with men who are married, sleep with married. Like, he keeps repeating that, and it's just like a startling start to an episode, right? We learn about her that she both of her parents are deceased, and she wanted to talk about the grief from that, but instead he advises her to sleep with married men and do whatever you need to do to make this book interesting. Instead, she decides to go on a road trip on her own, and eventually she run into three different women who has very particular life stories. In this episode, we see a brief synopsis of an intro of three different women, but throughout the series or throughout this season, we see how each episode is focused on one woman at a time, which is pretty nice because you really get to hone in on that woman. So we're first introduced to Lena. Lena is played by Betty Gilpin, or Gilpin, if I'm saying it incorrectly. She's a homemaker. She's married to her husband. They have children, and she has a husband who doesn't touch her. He does not touch her, sexually at all. I mean, obviously he did at one point for them to have children. They have two kids together, both boys, but they don't have pleasurable sex. They don't have sex to have pleasure. I think the only reason they had sex prior to this long absence of sex is to procreate. But it's been 3 months now, and she has yet to have her husband touch her. And he would even say things like, I'm not attracted to you, or you don't do it for me. I'm kind of disgusted. He'll say it in a way that just makes her feel inadequate, of course, and it's heartbreaking. She wants her husband to touch her. She wants to feel loved, and that's tough. She also lives in a small town in Indiana. And in this small town, she is somewhat pressured to be this Christian woman. She goes to church, she's married, and she has to abide by her husband. And when they would have these counseling sessions with the pastor, which I feel like is biased. Let me just say this. I don't think it's wise to have marital counseling with the pastor. I don't. Especially if you come from a small town, and that's probably all she knows, and there's no other option. So I get it. No blame to her there. But in this circumstance, she is seen as someone who's being like uncompromising. Like this pastor who's supposed to be like a mediator, he's not even trying to hear her out. Like she's telling him we don't have sex. Like he doesn't make her feel wanted and loved and lusted after. And he's just like, what did he say? He's just like, just stop making it a big deal. Oh, sorry. Stop making it a big deal. And it's just, so what? Just be a mother, be understanding to your husband, yada, yada, yada. She eventually meets with this, what is he? He's a doctor, but he's like a alternative type of doctor, holistic type of doctor, which is pretty cool. And he happens to be Indian. And I'm pointing that out because they live in Indiana, a small town in Indiana, and it seems to be predominantly white. I have yet to see any other race in that town. So to see this Indian guy there is like, oh, So she meets up with him. He tells her that she has something going on with her hands. I guess some type of arthritis. I forget what it is. And he listens to her. Like he looks her deeply in her eyes. She even opens up to him and tell him that she's in a marriage and her husband doesn't touch her. Like her husband doesn't make her feel loved and wanted. He makes her feel assured. Like the Indian doctor, he's like, oh, why wouldn't he touch you? Like you should. And at that moment, I thought to myself, oh, is there about to be an affair happening here? But that doesn't happen. It eventually leads her. He tells her about this open women's group, like support group. Oh, actually, there is a black person in town. But for them, I'm just remembering because in the women's group, I do see a black woman there. She's a gay black woman, which is okay. But anyway, it's predominantly white town. So anyway, so she's there. No. I'm backtracking. Hold on. Okay, so sorry, it's been a minute since I watched this episode. Anyway. So episode 1, she basically is just giving the rundown to this Indian doctor. He opens her up to go to this therapy session, this open women's group therapy session. And she goes, okay, boom, we're done with Lena. That's Lena. Now let's move on to Sloan, oh my goodness. Sloan is a just envied woman. She's an envied woman. And I say that because she is successful, she's beautiful, she got it going on, and she's very, very attractive. She is played by DeWanda Wise. I'm familiar with her previous work. I've always thought she was just this eye-catching beauty, and I really love some of the roles that she's played, at least that I'm familiar with. She let's see, I'm trying to remember, it was that show. What did she play? But anyway, if you go to her IMDb, you'll see some of her previous work. Well, all of her previous work. But she plays Sloan. And She's Gotta Have It. Yeah. So if you guys watch that show, She's Gotta Have It on Netflix when it came out, Her character was just something else, but she played the ish out of her character. Like that was when I was introduced to DeWanda Wise. So she is a phenomenal actress. I wish her very well, and I just find her take on different characters to be so raw and honest and just unfiltered. Like, wow. Anyway, let's move on. So Sloane is married to Blair Underwood. Y'all know him. Anyway, his name in the show is Richard. They are just very attractive. They have this successful business together. So he's a chef and she's a curator, a party curator, it seems like. And they have people work for them. So she has a catering group, so she has this like catering company, and she would have people like deliver oysters to her parties, and like they have this like really impressive life, and they're bosses. So we see in a scene that she is checking out this guy, and her husband notices that. Blair Underwood notices that. And, one would think, oh, he's about to be jealous. He's about to snatch her up. I don't know, right? But he actually is turned on by that. He actually is looking at her, like giving her a head nod and asking like, oh, is he the one you want, type of thing. So in the next scene, we see her getting fucked by this other guy. And not just getting fucked by the other guy, but he's in the room. Her husband is in the room and he's drinking slowly a scotch, a glass of scotch. And just like undressing this moment. You don't see him like getting off or anything, but mentally I'm sure he is. And I'm just like, oh, okay. We see another interesting dynamic of a relationship. And it's very startling to watch. But again, I'm very I like to watch things or listen to people's stories with an open mind and an open heart. So I wasn't judging it. I was just shocked. Like, oh, I just wasn't expecting that, right? So that's one. She is about to get effed or whatever, and she isn't feeling well. She just starts throwing up. I think she's like allergic to, or something about the oysters that she had earlier didn't do right for her. So that was that. And throughout that moment, it's like, wait, whoa. They're in this polyamorous situation or this cuckold situation, which again, to each their own, but it was just definitely startling to watch. All right, so let's jump into Maggie. Maggie is played by Gabrielle Creevy. And her story is triggering. Not for me necessarily, but just in general, because she actually realizes as she is in her early years of young adulthood that she was in an inappropriate relationship with her high school English teacher. And at the time, being that she was young, she felt like it was genuine, like it was love, like it was a beautiful thing. Yet she learned that, wait, no, this shouldn't have happened. Like, he shouldn't have done what he did to me and groomed me, essentially. It started, like, the grooming process started when she was 17. And there's a scene, we'll get to it on a later episode review, but I'm trying my best to just only talk about what is happening episode 1. It's hard when you're like, when you watch additional episodes and you're now like, and I'm now like backtracking. So I'm literally going off of memory and some notes that I took down. But that's basically what happened in episode 1 when it comes to her, when it comes to Maggie. She is in realization that her relationship with her high school English teacher was inappropriate. She even emailed him and asked him for clarification, like, you know, was, what did she say? Something like, you know, did X, Y, Z really happen between us? Like, and, you know, was it really love or whatever? And instead of denying it, he admits to it. Like, he actually is confirming her thoughts. Like, she didn't make it up or anything. So it was at that point where she is just verklempt and she realizes she has to do something about it. So basically that's it. That's the end of the episode. As you guys could tell, I'm not, maybe I'll do it next episode. I'll go like scene by scene. I just don't know how people do that. It's like my first time really doing something like this. So, at least my first time like doing it again. But that is how I'm reviewing. I'm just like talking about major things that took place, giving an overview, and I hope you enjoyed it. I will be back for another review of this amazing show. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. If you are watching this show and you just need someone to talk to about it, please talk to me. Talk to me, engage in the comments, and let me know what you think. How do you feel about any of these characters? These real people, these real women. These stories are about real women who decided to be open and honest in sharing their life story and their experiences with Gia, the woman who wrote their stories into a book. And it's actually in a book. So I'm actually thinking about reading the book myself. It's in my Amazon cart. So we'll see. We'll see if I read it. But check it out. Let me know what you think. And I will check in with you all next time. Review with me. Peace.